Commissioner, I think everyone has a good idea of where we are. This is a fantastic place. MGM Resorts has done an amazing job here with this entire property. What's your favorite part of this area where we are right now?
It's hard to say favorite part, but I do love the park, the venue. It's supposed to be like a pocket park in what you'd find in New York. No, it was Jim Murin, the chair of MGM. It was his vision to have this park-like setting winding up to the arena from the Strip, and they've done a magnificent job. I saw one press release that calls it the new epicenter of the Strip. I think that's a good nomer for it.
And of course, the T-Mobile Arena behind me is a star in its own right. There's been some amazing concerts there and things like that. And that's only going to continue, right? I mean, people are going to just come see this place almost regardless of what the amazing entertainment that's going to be in here.
Absolutely. The whole area has an ambiance, and topped off by the wonderful venue and the many events that are being held there, from boxing to artists, and it's just wonderful to see, and the people that it's drawing in, and the jobs that it's brought, and the new economic strain it is for Clark County.
Commissioner, I know that MGM has been an amazing community partner, and we see it with small things even around here with their water conservation, and they used indigenous plants, and a lot of this quartz material was actually mined from right here in Nevada.
It is. I envision school children coming here to view the plants, to see the stone. They also won a Water Hero Award for its conservation efforts from the Southern Nevada Water Authority. They're using drip sprinklers, and they even have ways to adjust the sprinklers when there's wind. So it's very well done, the water conservation that was kept in mind as they designed this.
And again, if one of our largest employers is doing that, that sends a good message to the rest of us to conserve water in our own little ways at home and everything like that, right, Commissioner?
Absolutely does. Absolutely. It's a great example.
Talk a little bit about art. Again, behind me here, this Marco Cochran made an amazing bliss dance sculpture. It's a celebration of women. Talk to me about it, Commissioner.
Apparently it was first introduced at the Burning Man Festival in northern Nevada. Jim Murin wanted to have art expressed in this area and brought this in at a great cost, and it's a beautiful monument to women, and I think just to life. The bliss is a good name for it, a bliss dance.
I mean, we have naked women in different disposals up and down the Strip, but this is completely different. This is a magnificent sculpture that people will be meeting here or using this as a reference, as a landmark.
Yes, and I see it as a form. It's just a beautiful form of the body, and more of that, I think, is expressing emotion.
Commissioner, and obviously, even as we're sitting here, there's still some construction on the Park Theater, and MGM is also going to be changing this place. We've all known the Monte Carlo for a number of years, as the Monte Carlo is going to soon be two different hotels, the Park MGM and the Nomad. That's exciting as well.
Very exciting. It really is transforming the area. The theater will seat 5,300, I believe, so it's adding another venue in here that's a needed size in Las Vegas. And it will look over the park, and apparently will have glass enclosure on the side, so it will be a very open look. That's very exciting, another transformation of this area.
Commissioner, you and I know we've been here since about a little less than 2 years ago when the MGM first broke ground. That's created jobs and created momentum, as you keep saying, here on this end of the Strip, and this is still creating jobs here. So have we turned the corner? We look at something like the T-Mobile and everything they've done here at the park, that's a good precursor to show that Las Vegas is back?
I think absolutely, especially when you see large business conglomerates investing in projects like this in Las Vegas. They don't do that with doing a lot of research. I think it does show Las Vegas is back as strong as ever.
I don't know if you're a golfer or not, but there's a new place just opened on the other side of the Strip on Cobalt Lane called Topgolf. It's a driving range and rock and roll nightclub, and again, a whole different dynamic for Las Vegas going in a different direction. These are the type of things we encourage and certainly want people to develop here, especially in a resort corridor, right?
I think Topgolf may become a destination point. They do have, they're worldwide, but this is their flagship, and I have heard great reports that it's just exciting. It's been full almost every night since it's been open, they've been a great neighbor too. We had concerns about noise and lighting because there are people, residences around the area, and we've had no complaints. They've been very careful to direct the light inward and careful with the noise, and they've been a great neighbor as well as an outstanding venue.
Maybe people don't realize that what the partnership that Clark County has with projects like this, projects like that. Talk a little bit about the synergy and what the county has to do to make things like that happen, working in conjunction with private developers.
We have to be very careful as we go through our zoning process that we're not impacting neighbors in a negative way, whether they're business neighbors or residential neighbors. So we're very careful as we go through the process to look at the impacts. And normally the new businesses coming in are great to work with, and they do everything they can to minimize negative impacts. I've just found it to be a great process, and that most people are very workable.
And of course, you and your colleagues on the County Commission have been studying the resort corridor and continue to do so and looking to ways to improvement. Talk a little bit about that, whether it's light rail possibilities or some more pedestrian bridges, perhaps right here in front of what soon to be will be the Monte Carlo. Give me your take, Commissioner.
We've been recognizing that we have problems accessing the resort corridor. There are times when people are waiting 2 or 3 times through a light to move, and access out of the strip is affecting Koval and Paradise. So we've been looking at transportation, how we can move people in and out more easily. There have been a lot of thoughts on it. We've got light rail that's been proposed, elevated roadway that was proposed by our own county staff. It all needs more study. I mean, everybody's got ideas, and I think everybody has their favorite, but it's based more on opinion. We've also got the monorail that's in place that could be adapted, so that needs to be looked at as well. But in my opinion, it's taxpayer money that will be going into this. We need to be very careful to study it, study ridership versus cost versus impacts on the strip, and also get the input from the resorts. I mean, they're an integral part of this. We need to study it till we know the facts and not base it on opinion, but base it on facts, base our final decisions.
And of course, then something else that seems to be generating a lot of community discussion is a new stadium, a multi-purpose 40, 50, 60,000 seat stadium, perhaps near UNLV, which again is another impediment that if that happens, then you have many more decisions to make.
Right, and that I hope we can get a stadium for UNLV. There's the 42-acre piece that was recently purchased by the university. Seemed to be an ideal spot, but there are a lot of FAA concerns with that. I know they're looking at different locations, but I do think that most of the commissioners, from comments that I've gleaned in our meetings, most of us feel that we want to see a lot less public money go into that. And I think that's one of the conditions we all
That's the actual
have.
stadium you're saying, Commissioner?
Yes, on the stadium proposals.
As it stands right now, it's the Sands Corporation is taking definitely the lead on this project, but certainly looking for some public dollars in some form or fashion.
Right, and in comparing stadiums that have been built in the last 10 years, it's far more than in comparison with those other stadiums. So I'd hope to see it more in the middle of where those last 10 have been. But we've got to protect those public dollars.
And now we're talking a little bit about stadiums and now professional sports. With any luck at all, any day this place behind me could be home to the newest NHL hockey team. And there's been talk about the Los Angeles Raiders, the Oakland Raiders, perhaps moving into this stadium we're talking about. How is that going to change dynamics, having professional sports here?
I think people in our city, in Clark County, Las Vegas, Henderson, all the jurisdictions have been hoping that Las Vegas will get a sports team, professional sports team here. And I think there's a lot of work going on. I think we can support it. I think we have tourists that will support it. So I am a big fan of bringing a sport in.
Anything good for Las Vegas, good for business, good for Las Vegas,
Absolutely.
good for Clark County.
Absolutely. And I think professional teams bring a community together too, brings a sense of identity. And we have the 51s we rally around, I hope we can bring in another professional sport that we can say is ours.